So, um, picture a monk freezing in a cave for like 40 years.
Right, the classic image.
Yeah. That is the timeline we usually associate with enlightenment. It feels like this exclusive club,
Oh,
a
absolutely.
completely distant, impossible summit that those of us with mortgages and uh, performance reviews and daily commutes could never possibly reach.
Yeah, we're too busy just surviving.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But the text we are exploring today on this deep dive claims you can reach that exact same state of Buddhahood right now, like maybe even while you are sitting in traffic on your morning commute today.
It is an incredibly radical proposition, honestly.
It really is.
We are looking at a philosophical text by an author named Xu Feng, and it's titled Awaken to Your True Nature and Transcend the Dust. Attain Buddhahood in the Present Moment.
Quite the title.
Yeah, and right out of the gate, the text establishes this very specific, almost uncompromising hierarchy of value.
Oh, right, with the temples.
Yes. It claims that building grand temples is, well, it's inferior to shaping people, and shaping people is actually less meaningful than creating Buddhas. The author's stated mission is to literally bring forth countless Buddhas to illuminate a path for humanity.
Which is a massive claim. And obviously we have to approach world-changing claims like that with, a healthy dose of objectivity.
Of course.
Because whether you view this as a profound spiritual framework or just this insanely fascinating psychological thought experiment, the text kind of forces us to look at our own ambition differently.
It really does challenge your reality.
It states that to become a Buddha, you only need to meet 3 specific hallmarks. It's not about enduring decades of physical torture.
Or freezing in a cave.
Right. It is just about meeting 3 distinct criteria. So, okay, let's unpack this. What are those 3 hallmarks actually based on?
Well, to understand how the text defines those hallmarks, we first need to look at how it views the actual timeline of awakening.
Okay, lay it out for us.
It builds on the teachings of the 6th patriarch, Henning. And he famously established this path of sudden enlightenment.
Sudden meaning like instantly.
Exactly. Quinnan taught that if you perceive your true nature, you instantly become a Buddha. The transformation happens in a flash.
Wow.
But, and this is key, Xu Feng introduces a highly systematic, almost mechanical caveat to this suddenness.
What's the caveat?
He argues that every essential transformation must be preceded by an accumulation of change in quantity.
Wait, an accumulation of change in quantity?
Yeah.
So it's a sudden awakening, but only after a massive amount of invisible prep work.
Pretty much.
That almost sounds like a contradiction, doesn't it?
What's fascinating here is that it does seem contradictory on the surface, but the text states that without countless reflections, without, lifetimes of cultivation and deep contemplation.
And quantity part.
Right. Without all that, you simply cannot reach the threshold of transformation.
So you just won't trigger the event.
Exactly. You won't have the karmic affinity to awaken or even the mental architecture to comprehend these teachings when you hear them.
No.
So the sudden flash is real, but it requires fuel.
That actually grounds the mysticism in a way that makes a lot of sense to me.
How so?
Well, it reminds me of learning a complex new language.
Oh, that's a great comparison.
Yeah, you struggle with the vocabulary for years. You memorize rigid grammar rules. You stumble through those really embarrassing conversations.
We've all been there.
Right. And it feels like an endless, clunky accumulation of data. You aren't suddenly fluent on, like, random Tuesday afternoon.
Right, that is the quantity phase.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But then, one night, you have a dream entirely in that new language.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Or someone drops a plate in a restaurant, and you react by shouting in that language without translating it in your head first.
It just happens.
The breakthrough is instantaneous, a qualitative shift. But the preparation was grueling.
That analogy perfectly captures the text's validation of our everyday struggles.
Oh, good.
Yeah, the text is essentially telling you that the grueling accumulation of knowledge and worldly experience you go through isn't a distraction from enlightenment.
It's part of the process.
It is the mandatory foundation. You are basically building up the quantitative mass required to trigger that eventual flash of pure clarity.
But this raises a practical question, right? Because if you've done all that invisible prep work, what exactly is supposed to happen in that sudden flash?
Like, what is the actual experience?
Yeah, what are you actually experiencing in that moment?
That is the first of the 3 hallmarks. It's called perceiving the Tathagata.
Tathagata, okay.
In this context, the Tathagata is defined as your true nature, your absolute core essence.
Okay, got it.
To explain this, the text points to a famous quote from the Diamond Sutra. Says, "All forms are illusions. To perceive forms as formless is to behold the Tathagata.
And the author actually walks the reader through this visceral, almost uncomfortable bodily reduction exercise to prove this point, right?
Yeah, it's pretty intense.
It asks the fundamental question, who am I? And starts systematically stripping away your attachments to your physical form.
Stripping it right down.
Yeah, it asks, is my home me? Obviously not. Are my clothes me? No.
Well, that's the easy stuff.
Right. But then it goes deeper. It asks, are my teeth me? If they fall out, I am still me.
True.
What if my hair goes bald, or my eyes go blind, or my legs are amputated?
You're still you.
Exactly. Am I still me if my heart is replaced by a transplant? It even asks, if all my blood is drained and replaced by a machine, am I still me?
And the answer is always yes.
Always yes. And the conclusion it draws is, I am the Tathagata.
It is a profound psychological exercise in separating the conscious essence from the biological vessel.
Yeah, it really makes you think.
It forces you to realize that if you can lose pieces of your physical body and still retain yourself, then your body is not your true self.
Which is a trippy thought.
And if your physical body is not your true self, then the physical rules of space and size no longer apply to you.
Oh, I see where this is going.
This is where the text uses the ancient metaphor of stepping inside a mustard seed.
Right. Because if you are attached to your physical form, entering a tiny mustard seed is completely impossible.
Yeah.
Your body is too large.
Up.
But if you are the Tathagata, this traceless, formless essence we just talked about, then size is completely irrelevant. You can be infinitely vast or infinitely subtle.
And to illustrate this infinite subtlety, the text takes the reader on a journey inside that mustard seed.
It's like a sci-fi movie.
It really is. It uses striking modern scientific imagery. It describes zooming in deeper and deeper. You enter a galaxy of molecules.
Okay.
Then you go into a solar system of atoms.
Wow.
Then the sun of an atomic nucleus. You keep going down into quarks and then into the domain of wave-particle duality.
Where things get weird.
Yeah, where matter isn't even solid anymore. It is just potential. You go further until the string state dissolves and you are left with the pure, non-material structure of conscious essence.
I have to pause here because this feels like a massive leap.
It's a big jump, yeah.
Is the author genuinely suggesting that spirituality is hiding at the subatomic level? Like, are we literally talking about quantum physics as a religious doctrine?
Not quite. The text isn't trying to be, a physics textbook.
Okay, good.
It is using this microscopic quantum descent as a metaphor to prove the concept of emptiness.
Ah.
It is showing you that solid matter is fundamentally an illusion. The deeper you zoom into the physical world, the more empty space you find. The less stuff there actually is.
Because it's mostly empty space anyway.
Exactly. Eventually, the physical structure collapses entirely, and only that non-material essence remains. And the text makes a crucial point here, too.
What's that?
This true nature isn't unique to humans. It claims all life forms possess a Tathagata.
Everything alive.
Right. To see through the physical appearance of any being, a person, an animal, a tree, and behold that empty conscious essence is to perceive the Tathagata.
Let's play this out, though. Realizing your body is an illusion creates a massive practical problem, doesn't it?
Or so.
Well, if you are just a conscious essence temporarily occupying a biological vessel, how do you actually go to work or raise a family or just, interact with society tomorrow morning without creating immense friction?
That tension leads directly to the second hallmark.
Which is
Embodying effortless action, or what Eastern philosophies often call non-action.
okay, non-action.
The text really challenges our modern obsession with productivity and striving. Its core principle is that where there is action, there is error.
I need you to explain the mechanism of that.
Yeah.
Because how does acting create error?
Well, the text asserts that your true nature, the Tathagata we just discussed, is originally pure and completely structurally perfect.
Yeah.
When you force action, when you strive desperately to change the world, acquire wealth, or force an outcome, you are introducing artificial movement into a perfect system.
You're messing with the machinery.
Exactly. You create flaws. The more you strive, the further you stray from your true nature.
And to explain who strives the most, the text actually divides humanity into 5 distinct categories, right? Based on what drives their actions.
Yes, 5 levels.
It starts with ignorant people who are ruled purely by instincts and survival.
Right.
Then you have worldly people who are driven by self-interest desires and climbing the social or corporate ladder.
The hustle culture type.
Yeah, pretty much. The third category is mortals who are bound by emotions, family, and duty to their nation.
Which is most of us.
Right. Fourth are sages, who are guided by supreme reason. And finally, saints or celestials, who live purely by the spirit and see through the illusions of the physical world.
The underlying logic of these 5 categories is that the stronger your attachments, the more furiously you engage in forced action.
Makes sense.
Now, like you said, most people listening would probably identify with the mortals category.
Yeah, definitely.
We are driven by love for our families, providing for our relatives, contributing to our communities, but the text takes a very hard line here.
It really does.
It views all of these emotional pursuits as illusions. It calls them thunder and lightning in the clouds.
Wait, so providing for my family or loving my children makes me lower on this spiritual ladder.
Yeah.
That feels incredibly harsh. Why are love and duty considered flaws?
Because they bind you to outcomes, and that creates emotional volatility and suffering.
Oh, I see.
If your happiness depends entirely on your family's success or your nation's prosperity, you are constantly striving to control things that are ultimately temporary physical illusions.
You're forcing action again.
Exactly, you are forcing action. Even the sages who have moved past raw emotion and operate on high-level reason, they are entirely capable of falling back into this trap.
And the text actually gives specific examples of how a sage falls, which is super interesting.
Yeah, tell us about that.
He says a highly rational person can lose their mind when faced with immense wealth. Like $1 billion suddenly appears and their reason just evaporates into greed.
It happens all the time.
Right? Or they encounter extreme political power or a national crisis of life and death.
Uh.
Or even beauty so stunning it stirs the heart.
Any intense stimulant.
Yeah, when those intense stimuli hit, the sage's reason breaks down. They fall right back into desperate striving.
Precisely. And the text pushes this concept even further up the spiritual ladder.
How high does it go?
It claims that even high-ranking monks and Dharma teachers who are actively striving to save sentient beings, they are caught in the trap of action.
Wait, really? Even monks?
Even them. It quotes the Buddha saying, "Think not, I must liberate all beings," because the very intention to save the world, the heavy burden of "I must fix this," is a form of forced effort.
It's an ego trip.
Right. It implies that the universe is broken and that your ego is required to repair it.
But here's where it gets really interesting, because this is where the author's own actions seem incredibly contradictory.
Oh, definitely.
So Feng, the author of this text, has these massive world-changing goals. He writes about creating what he calls the era of life genuine and unifying all world religions.
Which is a huge undertaking.
Right. That sounds like the ultimate ego-driven form of striving. Isn't that exactly what he just criticized the high-ranking monks for doing?
It really looks like it.
It almost sounds like a convenient excuse for failure if things don't work out. Like, oh, I wasn't really trying anyway.
It is a glaring paradox, and to his credit, the text addresses it directly.
How does he justify it?
The author explains that he and his followers treat these massive goals as a game. He compares it to children playing house.
Playing house.
Yeah. When children play house, they are fully engaged in the moment, but they don't carry the existential weight of actual homeownership.
They aren't stressed about the mortgage.
Exactly. They don't take it seriously. Whether the goal actually succeeds or fails is of no real concern to them.
Imagine applying that to your own life. Like, imagine pursuing a massive career goal or building a company, but being 100% emotionally detached from whether you actually achieve it.
It's just hard to fathom.
You do the work, but you just don't agonize over the result at all.
Exactly. If we connect this to the bigger picture, the author describes this way of living as a state of hundon.
Hundon.
Yeah. To put it simply, imagine a state of mind where you aren't chopping your day up into good parts and bad parts. You don't label eating as a pleasant reward and sleeping as a waste of productive time. You just exist as a seamless part of your environment, like a tree absorbing sunlight.
Very zen.
When hungry, they eat. When sleepy, they rest. They enjoy blessings and accept hardships without resistance.
So non-action doesn't mean doing literally nothing.
Right. True non-action doesn't mean sitting paralyzed in a chair refusing to move. It means emotional non-resistance. You are still chopping wood and carrying water, but you aren't agonizing over whether you are chopping the wood fast enough.
Non-action, yet nothing is left undone.
Beautifully said.
So your physical body is moving through the world with this emotional non-resistance, just playing the game.
Yeah.
But what is your internal monologue doing during all this? What is your mind supposed to be focused on?
That leads us to the third and final hallmark.
Okay, lay it on us.
A mind that abides nowhere.
Abides nowhere, meaning?
To attain supreme enlightenment, the text argues that the mind must be free of all attachments. It must reach a state called thusness, utter stillness and unmoving clarity.
Utter stillness.
Yeah, you cannot allow your mind to be stirred, hijacked, or anchored by sensory inputs.
The examples the text uses for this are brilliant because they use contrast, right?
Yeah, tell us about those.
Like, it makes sense that your mind shouldn't be stirred by noisy, chaotic environments. That's obvious.
Sure.
But the text says it also shouldn't be stirred by incredibly melodious music. It shouldn't react to a harsh, hair-raising howl, but it also shouldn't be captivated by the soft, sweet voice of an enchanting beauty.
It cuts both ways.
Exactly. The mind must not anchor itself in sound, smell, taste, or touch. It just observes them passing by.
But the most crucial instruction regarding the mind, and undoubtedly the most controversial for many listeners, is that the mind must not abide in dharma.
Dharma. And in this context, dharma refers to religious teachings, holy texts, doctrines, that kind of thing, right?
Yes.
Wait, are you saying the author believes that rigidly clinging to holy texts like the Bible, the Quran, or the Buddhist sutras is actually preventing people from reaching enlightenment?
Yes, that is exactly what he's saying. The text takes a radically anti-dogmatic stance.
That's a bold claim.
It points out a fascinating historical paradox. The supremely wise Buddha taught for 49 years, but ultimately claimed he spoke no dharma.
Oh, interesting.
The text argues that clinging to the Buddha's specific literal words is actually slandering the Buddha. True dharma is formless, fluid, and constantly responsive to the specific time and place. The text uses the phrase, constancy within change and change within constancy.
Okay, but if these sacred texts aren't the ultimate truth, then what is the mechanism behind them? Why do they exist at all?
Well, the text categorizes all religious doctrines as skillful means.
Skillful means.
Think of them as temporary tools, or a raft used to cross a river.
Oh, I've heard this analogy.
Right. Once you cross the river, you don't pick up the heavy raft and carry it on your back for the rest of the journey. You leave it behind.
Because it served its purpose.
Exactly. Even Wei Feng explicitly admits that his own teachings, the Life Shanuan texts, are not fixed dharma. They are just skillful means.
So he's consistent, at least.
He is. To reach true, unattached purity, you have to let go of the very doctrines that guided you there. The text explicitly demands that the teachings of Jesus, Shakyamuni, Muhammad Laozi, and even Wei Feng himself must all be set aside.
You can't get stuck on the words.
You cannot let your mind abide in their words as a final destination. If you confuse the map for the territory, you will never arrive.
We have covered a massive amount of philosophical ground here today.
You really have.
We started with the prerequisite, an immense, grueling accumulation of worldly and spiritual effort.
The invisible prep work.
Right. Then we move through the 3 hallmarks. Seeing your true nature by realizing your physical body is an illusion. Moving through the world with the effortless emotional non-resistance of a child playing a game, and finally letting your mind abide nowhere, completely free of sensory attachments and rigid religious dogma.
That's the blueprint.
But if I am a listener sitting in my car right now, I am inevitably going to be skeptical. I hear all of this and think, can I really do this right now, today?
The text anticipates that exact skepticism. The author writes, "You smile, perhaps thinking, am I really a Buddha now? Could it be so simple?"
And what's the answer?
And the author's answer is profound. Yes, this simple, this difficult.
The text is honest, honestly. For someone who hasn't put in the reflections, who hasn't done the invisible prep work we talked about at the beginning, this will just sound like an alien language.
It will bounce right off them.
Exactly. But for those who have put in the work, who have that quantitative foundation, it can trigger a moment of sudden, overwhelming clarity.
The flash we talked about.
Yeah, the flash. The text quotes a beautiful line to describe this. Searching 1,000 times in the crowd, then turning, that one was there in the dim light.
What makes this text uniquely pragmatic and perhaps less intimidating than traditional spiritual teachings is its scale of enlightenment.
A scale.
Yeah.
How does that work?
It acknowledges human frailty and the reality of our daily lives. It states that if you are generally confused and caught up in the world, but you experience just one instant of pure clarity where you meet those 3 conditions.
The formlessness, non-action, and still mind.
Right. If you hit those three for just one instant, you are a Buddha for that exact instant.
I find that concept so incredibly liberating.
It takes the pressure off, doesn't it?
It completely destroys the idea that Buddhahood is some eternal VIP club where once you climb the frozen mountain, you are locked in forever.
Right.
It is a state you can dip in and out of. You might be a Buddha for 30 seconds while you are standing in line at the grocery store.
Yes.
You are totally present, totally detached from the outcome, just observing the noise without reacting. And then the cashier makes a mistake. Your mortal emotions kick in, your ego flares up, and boom, you lose it.
You're back to being mortal.
You return to the world of striving and error. But you were a Buddha for those 30 seconds.
And the text says if you can hold that state for 2 instants or a few minutes or an hour, you are actively climbing the Mount of Enlightenment.
So what does this all mean?
Well, this raises an important question for all of us. It reframes our entire day. The text urges the reader to catch the light of spirit whenever it flashes.
How many flashes do we just miss?
Exactly. How many flashes of spirit do we miss every single day because we're too busy forcing action? The text promises that in the very second you catch that light, the remaining remnants of your human, animal, or worldly nature are purified. You don't need a cave, you just need to notice the flash.
We started out looking at this towering, intimidating mountain of spiritual mastery. But by breaking down this text, the mountain feels like something we can actually navigate.
It's accessible.
Yeah, you build a foundation of messy, real-world experience. You zoom into the microscopic emptiness of matter to realize your physical form isn't your true self. You go to work and raise your family with the lightness of a child playing a game, completely emotionally detached from the grand outcomes. And you let go of all rigid rules and dogmas to just exist perfectly in the present moment.
That's powerful.
It is a profound mental toolkit to step back from the exhausting, endless striving of modern life.
It absolutely is. And as we wrap up, I want to leave you with a final thought to ponder, building on one of the most striking metaphors from the text.
What's the thought?
We discussed how our mortal lives, our deep anxieties about our careers, the intense emotional attachments to our families, the political struggles of our nations, they are described merely as thunder and lightning in the clouds.
Just weather.
Right. They are loud, they are terrifying, and they command our attention. But ultimately, they are just weather passing through. If that is true, I invite you to look at whatever is causing you the most stress right now in this very moment.
The deadline, the argument.
Look at the email you are dreading or the conflict you are carrying and ask yourself, am I the storm or am I the empty sky watching the lightning flash?
Thank you for joining us on this deep dive. Keep questioning, keep learning, and see if you can catch a fleeting moment of clarity today.